Well, hello everyone, it's Jordan Howie here, and in this first video of Gospel Gaming and Teen, I will be talking about how main character syndrome is a serious problem both on social media and in reality. So let's enjoy a nice cup of tea and talk about this topic. Alright, so people with main character syndrome are very prideful, as they only care about themselves. And main character syndrome is something that has badly affected our society for the past couple of years. As I talk about this topic, what I will build here will be kind of an Adobe style house in the Badlands. Or using some red sandstone. Alright, so let's review some stuff here. Let's review the notes here. Of 2 Timothy 3:1 through 5 KJV. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. So some examples of people with main character syndrome are those who try to hog up gym space for entitled videos and get mad at others for appearing in their camera, those who take excessive selfies in a selfish manner, those who have such a haughty attitude, social media influencers who demand restaurants to give them free food just because they're influencers, and also those who post videos of themselves having the need just for views. Right, so of all of this, a lot of us have seen things like this happen on social media from time to time. And it does indeed get tiring. Especially since people who have main character syndrome have such an inflated ego. And the scripture actually told us in the verses I just quoted that pridefulness as well as the rampant of inflated egos would take place in the end times. And fortunately, there are several people on YouTube who have done a wonderful job of calling out these types of people Well, those with main character syndrome, who have an ego the size of the U.S. Okay, so they have this fabricated idea of self-importance, like shame self-importance. What they fail to realize is that the world does not revolve around them. I wonder how many times has the world revolved around them? Well, actually, it's zero. That's a pretty good answer. It's zero. But since the world does not revolve around them, and also the restaurants who are about to be affected by the influencers with social with main header syndrome is that a lot of businesses have been hurt by this, especially when dealing with harsh threats and also influencers threatening to destroy their business, which is totally not right. Well, let's head back to the notes. And also take a look at dig up some interesting stuff. So this verse here says, this right here says, lovers of their own selves. So, what lovers of their own selves means, that means people who are self-absorbed and only care about themselves is the part of the definition of the main character syndrome. Main character syndrome is championed across TikTok, YouTube, or pretty much all of social media. There are also a lot of people who express about how they've been annoyed by people who would try to hog up gym space for their self-entitled videos. Which really mean absolutely nothing. And now let's dig up some interesting stuff here. Here's this word, high-minded. And we know that this word means of thinking highly of oneself, or the view of being better than others, which of course is prideful, and that too sums up main character syndrome. Alright, let's go look at Proverbs 16, 17 through 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. Better it is to be of an humble spirit with the lowly, than to divide the spoil with the proud. Alright, here is what the word haughty means. The definition of this word, it's proud, arrogant, lifted up. And then there's even a verse here that shows us an example of the usage of this word. And listen to Psalm 131 verse 1, which is, Lord, my heart is not haughty, nor mine eyes lofty, neither do I exercise myself in great matters, or in things too high for me. So, the word haughty means to look down on others and view others as beneath you, which is exactly what people with main character syndrome do. Also, haughtiness is such an ugly form of pride, and there is nothing pretty about it. Although the root cause of main character syndrome, it's a combination, a toxic combination of pride, narcissism, self-entitlement, and egotistical ideas. So these type of people often put out content, especially self-absorbed selfies, to feed their inflated ego. There is nothing cool about main character syndrome. And a lot of us might have had rough encounters with people who have main character syndrome at some point. As sadly, main character syndrome has become increasingly common over the years. And yeah, the problem is not getting any better. It's just getting worse. Now here in Proverbs 6:16 through 19. These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto them. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. Alright, so main character syndrome, it's such a massive epidemic these days. Especially with those who do those lavish, unhinged Erewhon hauls. So it's not a surprise that main character syndrome is such a big problem today. And because pride is sadly very common. So the influencers who do those Air One hauls, they usually brag about how expensive the store is. Well, really how overpriced it is. Pride is extremely common, especially among social media influencers and wealthy people. As for Christians, we are not called to that type of lifestyle, as we are called to live humbly for the Lord. Also, main character syndrome isn't just prevalent among the social media influencers. It's also prevalent among Pharisees too, especially those in Pharisaical cults like the Hebrew Roots movement, Catholicism, and Eastern Orthodoxy. They have sanctimonious theology because they believe in salvation by works. And we know that Ephesians 2:8 and 9 destroys any kind of salvation by works heresy. Often of the people with main character syndrome who record videos of themselves, who post videos of themselves having those in need just reviews. Well, this is really annoying, especially since what they're doing is a Matthew 6 violation. As they are doing that just for views. And there are also some ministries like AOC Network that did a wonderful job making a short film exposing that problem. And also the rich people, the reason they're often for this pride, is that, when they get there, they usually develop this false notion, or this false idea of being better than everyone just because of their money, even though they're not actually better than anyone. So there is nothing cool about main character syndrome. Main character syndrome has it's destroyed families, or relationships. It's also destroyed friendships. It has hurt a lot of people. Make no mistake about it. It has hurt a lot of people. So there are even businesses that were being attacked or possibly even destroyed by those who have main character syndrome. Another thing we see is that those with main character syndrome also try to get others to be jealous of them as well. So during the process, they're causing others to stumble. And let's have a look at Matthew 18:6-7, as well as Revelation 21:8. So that we can dive deeper into what is the actual root of main character syndrome. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe unto the world because of offences, for it must needs be that offences come. But woe to that man by whom the offence cometh. And then Revelation 21:8 is, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Alright, so main character syndrome is, it's fed and invested in by our individualistic culture as well as egotistical culture, which is of course very prideful. As our culture relies on self-seeking and self-pleasure. And also self-absorbance. So people with main character syndrome, well, they pretend like their life is like one big movie where they're the so-called main character, and everyone else is just background characters. And the first that is a massively selfish stance. It's very prideful, very selfish, and very egotistical. Alright, so here it is. Main character syndrome is rooted in idolatry. Since people who have main character syndrome, they worship themselves. until, quite frankly, a lot of people are fed up with the main character syndrome. They also follow every trend out there, even the sinful ones, for all the wrong reasons. And obviously, it's impossible to follow a sinful trend for any good reasons. Given that sinful trends are not okay. So, for example, people with main character syndrome will usually follow every trend underneath the sun, like the crumble cookie trend, or the ice bucket challenge, or the trend of taking self-absorbed selfies in such a selfish manner. And then there's also a stupid trend out there. And then there's also the Dubai chocolate bar trend. And let's see. There's also the trend of posting cringy dance moves on TikTok. Oh, and those egotistical gym videos too. And then also complaining to others who go into the camera. So that sort of thing seriously needs to come to an end. Because it's not cute, it's not funny, and it's quite frankly disturbing. Now, of course, there is nothing wrong with following innocent trends like the Dubai chocolate bar trends, and then the crumble cookie one. But if you follow trends, but if you follow innocent trends for the wrong reasons, then there is something wrong with that. If you follow a trend with the motive of trying to look better than everyone else, then there is most certainly a lot wrong with that. But let's have a look back at the notes here. In James 4:6, but he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Right, so as Christians, when we are humble, things are in good hands. And speaking of things being in good hands, I'm actually going to mention another problem that stems from main character syndrome. And that is that there are even some professing Christians who have main character syndrome who attempt to reduce Christianity to just an aesthetic. This also counts as a form of main character syndrome because these people are trying to look better than everyone else. And so they're reading this workspace, hardware workspace idea that is difficult to obtain or achieve. Where we usually get things like the 20 highlighters. And during their process, they will make up a workspace notion that that makes him look quote unquote better. So the workspace notion because it's legalistic. And some of them also likely present the idea that if a person does not wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., then this person is not quote unquote holy enough. And that is definitely a workspace notion. Because you do not have to wake up at those times in order to go through sanctification. And you most certainly don't have to do those things in order to be saved. It's also a very big problem that some of them attempt to reduce Christianity to just an aesthetic, because the real Christian walk is actually filled with ups and downs. As there will be times when we will receive plentiful blessings, and there will also be times when we will go through hardships in life, and also persecution. As for Christians, we all will go through temptation, tribulation, and persecution. And there are also some times in life when we have to do things that are not easy, and we will need to rely on God's strength to carry it out. So, Christianity should not be reduced to just an aesthetic. As the Christian walk is a life of sacrifice. Especially since there will be times when we will lose things for the Lord. And it is all worth it in the end. As in the end, we will enter the kingdom of God, and we will be in eternal life there for all of eternity. So it is absolutely worth it. Very worth it. Alright, so of the professing Christians who have main character syndrome, who attempt to turn Christianity into just an aesthetic, Okay, so there's social media posts indirectly present workspace ideas, and that makes them look quote unquote better. So this means that they are LARPing and not truly living for the Lord, as they are LARPing. What that word LARPing means, it means live action role playing. So that means that they're not being legit, as they're just pretending. Which means that LARPing is a hideous form of hypocrisy. So as Christians, we should not be making legalistic posts like this, because that is not right. When you think about it, this sort of thing does actually cause others to stumble. Because they're painting a sanctimonious picture that is unobtainable for a lot of people. Of all the things they usually do in these posts, well, bear in mind that you do not have to do those things to be saved. And you do not even have to do all those things in your walk with Christ. As in your walk with Christ, all you need to do is to simply live for Jesus. To spend good quality time with the Lord, and also spend good quality time in prayer, or read the Bible every day. Let's head back to the notes. In Luke 18:10-14, 2 men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee and the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice in the week. I give tithes of all that I possess. And the publican, standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For every one that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. Alright, so that word abased, it means to be humbled. Alright, so those professing Christians who have main inheritor syndrome, who I just talked about, they're like that Pharisee who bragged about himself in a prayer. Where he was bragging about how he was not like the tax collector and other types of people. So he was bragging about how he was not like this one sinner or the other sinner. And the professing Christians who attempt to reduce Christianity to just an aesthetic post all these fancy morning routine videos and make other types of posts in a legalistic manner. They are just like that Pharisee. And there are also other Pharisaical people who are the same way too. The Catholics are that way. and so are those who are in the Hebrew roots cult. There are even some Pharisees who ruined the witness for Jesus by preaching Pharisaical heresies that drive people away from Jesus. So, for example, there are some Pharisees who try to condemn certain styles of her Christian music. And I understand that there's a lot of CCM music these days that is hogwash due to being heretical, but but that does not mean that all styles of Christian music are quote unquote bad. As there are Christian songs with sound doctrine that are of many different genres. You've got the traditional hymns, of course, the Lutheran chorales, and the Gregorian chants, and the Genevan Sauteurs. And then there's also Christian EDM that's theologically rich and deep. And then there's also and there are also some Christian rock songs with sound doctrine. And there's even some Christian pop songs with sound doctrine too. Although they are not easy to find, but after some searching, you can find them. And now if you're checking out a new Christian song, use the summary to make sure that it's biblically sound. And because there's a lot of heretical music out there that is me-centered. And speaking of, a lot of the CCM artists are really guilty of main character syndrome too. Because they produce a lot of me-centered music. So their music screams, I. Oh wow, Christian music should be all about Jesus and the gospel. As it should be Christ-centered. Alright, so to close out this gaming video, I'm now going to talk about if you know anyone with main character syndrome. Alright, so if you encounter someone in public or online who has main character syndrome, then you should confront this person about it and have a zero tolerance stance on main character syndrome, and let them know that the world does not revolve around them. And then, if you have a friend or family member who has main character syndrome, then you should talk to them about how the main character syndrome is hurting a lot of people and causing a lot of problems, and tell them about how it's destroyed a lot of friendships, relationships, and it's even destroyed lives. So I hope you enjoyed this first video of gaming. Of this first video of gospel gaming on team, which is where I preach the gospel as I play a random game on drink team. The tea I drank for this one was lavender tea. Anyways, I hope you had fun, and goodbye.